excited to have Prof. Coston here with me today. He's a professor, he's a counselor, he's a pastor, joining me all the way from North Cyprus. How are you doing, Professor?
Yes, I'm doing good. It's a privilege meeting you, and then also an opportunity to be able to be on this platform. So I'm doing good from this side, and I believe you're also doing well from the other side.
Yes. Glad
Okay.
to hear that. I'm trying my best. All right. So today we are going to be talking about long distance marriages, right? And I want you to wear your hat, put your hat on, your counselor hat, your life coach hat. That's what I want you to put on for us today, because I know you wear many hats. Okay. Talking about long distance marriages, the unique challenges. We're going to also be talking about some strategies for maintaining a strong connection, yeah, regardless of the distance. Okay, what prompted this talk is an email that I received from a woman in Nigeria. Okay, she's married, but her husband is abroad. She hasn't seen her husband in 9 years. And the whole essence of the email is the deep loneliness and some trust issues, okay? And as a counselor, I know that you would have spoken to different people regarding long distance marriages and that kind of like setup. Do you see what I mean? So what would you say to that type of woman that's, feeling lonely, not quite sure what to do?
Actually, I think the first thing I would say when it comes to relationships and then marriages that are distant, um, from the onset, these are things that needs to be discussed. I'm going to put balance to it. So when all the conditions are normal, everything is okay, these are major things that we need to discuss. Location, where are we going to be based in? Okay, is it Nigeria? Are we traveling abroad? So location is a major factor that needs to be discussed. I think that's one of the things that during the period of the courtship, or as they will call it, a serious dating, or let me use the word commitment, right? So it's a major thing that needs to be discussed because it could change the whole story, the whole, like the email says, that now deep loneliness and the togetherness will be affected and lots of factors will go wrong. So that's number one. So that needs to be discussed. So oftentimes we don't discuss that. We think, okay, there are things that just, okay, no problem, we'll handle it. So, but because intimacy will get in on the way, and this is somebody that you're going to love and you'll be so intimate with the person. So in your mind, it will be like, okay, I can do without him for a period of time, but it does not work that way. At least talking to people, I've realized that it does not work that way. That's number one, on location. Then number two, there are certain exceptions, probably like the email could be an exception, where they had discussed the location, they had started their life out and all those things. Then along the way, the husband or the wife got a job or got a school or something, and then the person now moves abroad, right? So, but there's a major thing that I always say, wheresoever, the moment you commit to a man or a woman, I don't believe you should be apart. That is what I believe. I don't believe you should be apart. Even if you have to be apart, then both of you must be working a way out where both of you will be together. So there must be a way. So love will always create a way. Love will always sacrifice. Love has a price. Yes, love has a price. And one of the price that you will pay is going out of your way to ensure that your beloved is always within your environment. So 9 years is too much. And I wouldn't know what the husband is doing abroad, or whether he's schooling or he's working. But I believe that 1 year is enough to make preparations for my family to join me anywhere I am on earth. Anyway.
Okay, 1 year is enough. But from what you said, discussing it early on in the marriage, or not the marriage, in the relationship, the courtship process, saying, okay, are you going to move to where I am, or am I going to move to where you are? That's initially. But you also touched on the fact that maybe they're already married. And it's a scenario where she, got married in Nigeria and the man is looking for greener pastures, as people do, traveled abroad. But the problem, he can't go back home now because of his immigration status. Okay, I didn't mention that earlier. So he can't go back home. That's why there's that 9 years period. Okay.
I get. So in these circumstances like this, 9 years is too much. This is what I would advise or counsel people to do. Right.
What would you
If
advise
you
the
have,
woman to do? Sorry to cut you,
yes,
because now she's deeply
yes.
lonely. There's no way the man can make plans to come back home because he's
Actually, for
sort of
the
trapped, more or
woman,
less.
yeah, the woman where she is the best place to be. I believe that the person that is supposed to move is the man, is not the woman.
Okay, so the husband should
Yes.
work on moving back to Nigeria.
Yes, he should work on moving back to Nigeria. Why? Except because the more he keeps staying in that country, you mentioned something in the email, there are trust issues, So, and already, I wouldn't know I wouldn't know the type of man he is. What I mean by that is that spiritually, emotionally, financially, character-wise, attitude, what kind of information he carries in his mind, how transformed he is about life, that he could stay these 9 years and not compromise, right?
Okay.
So there are men that have been found themselves at a point that they've built value in themselves. But if you find such men that have built value in themselves to this position, they know that it actually is not staying abroad to make the money, because immigration issues, for example, now immigration issues, the passport is not yet gotten, the papers are not yet gotten,
Exactly.
and then which means that you're not going to be doing a good job. So you have to be working hard, like you have to be doing hard jobs to
Yeah,
then
like
raise
labor, like
finance,
manual
yes, and all those
labor.
things. But, and then again, secondly, I don't know the status, his qualification in life. I mean, career-wise, right? So,
I don't know either, but yeah.
there are just this issue is actually big. So there are a lot of things to look out for. But the summary of what I would say is 9 years is too much, right? I know in men we have ego, we are prideful sometimes, right? And then we don't want to believe that we should take a step backwards and return back to when we make decisions sometimes, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, that flexibility and teachability is not there. So 9 years is too much. If I were in the man's shoe, I would take
In
my
the
bag.
man's shoe, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I would take my bag, dust my things, and return back to my family. I
It's
believe.
very easy for you to say, to be honest.
No.
It's
It's
easy
not
to say
easy for
because
me.
he's sending money back home.
Okay, you
And when
see,
they were back home, the reason he left is because he couldn't provide for the family. So he left in order to be able to financially provide for the family, which he's doing now in his
okay.
absence. But then,
But
of
now
course, she
there's a
misses her
degree.
husband.
Actually, there's a degree to provision. Money is not all that is to providing for a family.
Fair enough.
At least I've grown now to know that what holds a home now is not money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
So
part of
money,
it, but it's not the
yes, it's
most
part of it,
important.
but that's not a major reason, right? That's not a major reason. So resources, as long as you're committed both to yourselves, you will always find a way out to be able to stand together. And then also, if you appreciate your days of little beginnings, and then you're contented with what you have, then it's easier to build. Okay, he's sending money back home, but his family is dying, right? So he's sending
That's true.
money back. So I now know that there is more a woman demands from a man than physical resources. She could go out and then work with her hands and still make some money and push things, but she's already connected. She has given part of herself or the whole of herself to someone. And okay, let me share a story. There's a man that one of our colleagues, he kept his wife in far Turkey. So and then I got talking to him. I told him, won't you go and see your wife and then children? He said, oh, no, you know, the money is this, the money is that. But I said, but summer is coming. Just take a weekend. At least Turkey is here, 45 minutes flight, and then you get your wife and you're
Okay, so
back.
he's in Cyprus,
He is in
North
Cyprus.
Cyprus. Okay.
Yeah, yes. So, but now I now realize that uh, something is missing between him and the wife, or the wife and himself, in the sense that with time, as I'm talking to you now, the wife has packed her things and she's back to her family in Nigeria. Why? Because she cannot continue with the man. Simple reason. The man don't want to come and see them. I can count 1, 2, 3 examples of life stories that I know, right?
But the fact that there was no hindrance for this man in your example,
Yes, in my
for him
example, there
to
is no
travel from
hindrance.
Cyprus to
You understand? So,
Turkey,
no, I get
but
this
he just didn't
example
want to.
because it's not sometimes it's not money actually that actually drives, that should make the home to really be a part of. I feel, oh, I'm supplying, I'm providing, I'm providing. What a woman needs is beyond, if sincerely you ask, except maybe you find selfish women, right? But if you find sincerely a woman that knows herself and what she is and where she's going to, she will tell you the first thing she needs is not money. The emotional needs of a woman outweighs any financial need. She needs your presence. She needs you to be around. You know, sometimes I've learned to know that sometimes, even if you're not doing anything, just be around her. And you're not around this woman for 9 years. It's a little bit, I can't think it. And such people, I would rather advise them, okay, with what we know now that is happening in Nigeria and abroad or Africa, they say, no, 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 no. We have to stay here. We have to stay here. But if you stay here, uh, the home is dying. You will wake up one day and then you will not find the wife. You will not find the kid
But what if
again.
he's dating in wherever he is? Because that's part of
Good,
her complaint, that for
good.
him not to come home in 9 years, he's probably living his best life. They were assuming.
Aha, you see?
Of course, as a woman, she's assuming that okay, he's probably living his best life, and they have children. I forgot to
Yes,
mention that there are children
you see?
involved. Children he left when they were young, and then now they're like teenagers or something.
Okay, you
So
see?
all of that is really making the
So,
situation really
yeah, so for her,
is exacerbating the
really
situation.
for her, because the union of a man and woman is not only between the man and the woman. There are lots of people involved, So I always say, when you marry a woman, you're marrying her family entirely. When you're marrying a man, you're marrying his family entirely. So you have to choose the generation you're marrying yourself into.
I like how
you
you
know
put it, the generation
yes,
you're marrying
yes.
into.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so you really have to, that is a major part of a decision you're gonna, but most times you say, oh, I'm just in love with this guy and there's only two of us in the world. No, right? So you're marrying a generation. So, and
Mm-hmm.
why I'm bringing that is, if after 9 years and she's really getting this disturbed, right?
Mm.
So
Deep
lots,
loneliness, she
yes,
mentioned.
loneliness. So
Mm-hmm.
lots of people needs to be, yeah, they need to be involved inside, in the sense that, they have to reach out to his people. And let me even ask, I don't know whether the man is accountable to anybody, you know
I don't know.
yeah,
I
good.
don't know
So,
either. No.
yeah, these you see, these are key things that um outside people may think is not really important, but is very key. So, who does he listen to is very key, so that they can reach out to the person. This is the state of what is happening around your family back home, right? What decision are you making? Right? So if the papers are not forthcoming, right, it's better you return to your family than lose your family. But now, if they now realize that he's somebody that, oh, he's already having, okay, like yesterday I was told of a man that wants to change the papers of his children and the passport of his children and all those things, because he got into USA and now he has done a contract marriage, right? And he already has
Okay.
he already has a wife, he has children, right? And he wants to now change the documents so that he could move them, change their ages, change their lot of things like that. So you now realize that, and then he is telling one of the child that, no, it's a false marriage. After some time,
which one is a false marriage? The one he did
the one
abroad
in
is a
USA,
false marriage.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So when I get the papers, then we'll dissolve everything. So in these kind of scenarios, if the man is abroad and then he's also chasing that, it might be different. It might work out wrongly for him, right? And like people believe that they could do that. That's why you saw I mentioned how transformed he is in the mind, right? And the way he view life. If his viewpoint of life is, okay, I can be a faithful man and then see how I can get my wife going, good. But if he is not a
For
faithful
9 years.
man,
Okay, you
yes,
never know. Miracles happen, isn't it?
actually there are people, okay, let me say this, that I also say that, there are when a woman, I say it like this, when a woman says, I can die for you, I always say this, when she say I can die for you, I believe it, she can die for you. But when a man says I can die for you, you really have to just check that,
Okay.
Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because I've seen lots of cases, experience, where I'm coming from, people around me, and lots of things like that. So if the man has stayed 9 years and yet he is not, and you know one amazing thing? When you check the man after 9 years, he is not different than when he got into the country the first year.
But then she would be able to say he's different because he's sending money home. They're able to
Yes,
afford a
yes,
better
because
life than they
how
had
much how much do I
previously.
need to send? How much do I need to send from UK back to Nigeria that
Yeah,
gives
the
them a better
exchange
life?
rate.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I don't need so much to send back, and then they're okay. But my current status in UK after 9 years probably has not changed. I'm still moving from one hard job to another hard job because I don't have papers. And the way I got into the country will not afford me. I need to stay more. I can tell you, I know somebody that has stayed in UK almost getting to 20 years, and he has not gone back to his home.
And he
This is
has a
where,
family back home.
yes, so this is where it's getting me to now. It affected the children, affected the wife, affected how the children see him as a father. So they grew up to hate him. They didn't
Okay.
like him. So the relationship was just, they don't want to hear about their dad because all they saw was their mom.
But
And
even though
all
he was
the,
sending money, was he sending money to
yes,
look after them, sending them to
yes, he
good
was
school,
supporting. He
for
was supporting.
supporting them?
And what is the main reason? The main reason is that, oh, if I return back to Nigeria, I don't have so much. People will say, oh, he has stayed abroad, and there is no really so much that he could show for,
To show
right?
for it. And you mentioned ego
Yeah,
at the beginning as a
good,
man,
ego,
going
good.
back to where you came from, you feel like, what's the point? I haven't achieved my aim.
So that could be the position of that man. One, two, that could be, sometimes it may not be that he's having somebody there that he's with, right?
Yeah,
It
that's
could
just
just
me
be
being
that,
extra.
yes, maybe. Sometimes could just be that, because his status in that country, it's not a legal status. So that's why life will be very hard for him. But for the woman, what I would say for the woman is, get people that are involved in his life and
To
take the
do what? To
matter.
convince him to come back
No, no,
home?
no,
Or
no, no,
she
no.
just wants to know how to cope?
To ask him his decision regarding his family that he has left home. Why am
Okay,
I
he's
saying that?
waiting for his papers.
Good, good. Okay. So you choose. You either wait for your papers or you wait for your family, or you lose your family, sorry. Right?
Okay.
So it's both ways, because they cannot wait for you forever.
Mm.
So
He's
you have
waiting for
to,
his papers and processing how to bring them over. And she just wants to know what are some, the ways that she can cope while she's waiting. She's already waited 9 years. There's
okay.
no point now. There's no point leaving everything behind. You've waited 9 years. He's working on bringing you over. He's working on his status. So what can she do to cope with the loneliness, to cope with trust issues? Like she calls him he doesn't pick up the phone straight away, she's thinking, oh my gosh, maybe he's cheating, blah, blah, blah. So how can she cope? Or how can
Okay.
anyone in
In
that kind of
such
setup, how can they
situations,
cope? Yeah.
yeah, it's 9 years is actually so much. That's the truth. 9 years
Exactly.
is so much
Mm-hmm.
for someone whom you love, right? And you've started your life together. The story began together. 9 years is too much to be apart, and that means that you really have to really come up with ways to understand the kind of man or woman you're with. So, for example, you have to now be innovative in the way you communicate. If
Mm,
probably uh, first, is there a time difference between the where he is and where you are? If there is a time
okay.
difference, okay, so which means there has to be a sacrifice now, right, from your side, and then also you trying to reach out to him at odd hours because that will be his daytime, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that is number one. Number two now, if maybe you've been just calling on audio calls, you have to switch to video, right?
Video is very important.
Yes. So to really want to know, okay, who am I really speaking? Okay, for example, I know a lady that had to just say bye-bye to our relationship because every time she calls the guy told her he's in Dubai. But every time she calls him, he just shows his head, and
Okay.
so, but like if I'm in a relationship with you, you
No, no,
should be
no.
able to see
Finish the
my
Dubai
room.
stuff. Finish the Dubai. So he shows his head.
Yes,
Why? Why was he only showing
yes,
his head?
I'm saying it. I'm
Oh,
saying,
okay.
I'm saying.
Okay.
So if I'm in a relationship with you, you should be able to see my room. I should be able to show you the environment, where I am. This is my room. This is where I am. That's the corridor. That's the street, you know. So, but she has been worried. What's happening? So every time he shows the head, every time, like, I want to see the environment, what's happening.
Around you.
And then, yeah, so it took time for her to realize that, the guy where he's just, and he has been lying to her. That's another thing.
Okay.
So that, oh,
That he's
he's
like a
doing
big
this.
man in Dubai.
Yeah, thank you. Right. He's a big man and all those things. Life is moving well, things are happening and all those things. Just let her to
Mhm.
realize that, he's doing odd jobs where he's
Mhm.
staying, he's sharing the room with some people, you know,
And there's
and just
nothing wrong with that if he had been honest in the first place. That's the whole
thank
point.
you.
Mm.
So I'm just saying the importance of being innovative to switch on to from audio call, switch on to video. This is somebody you love. This is somebody that
Mm.
is your husband. So switch
Exactly.
on to video call, and then
Or make sure you're calling at a good time
yes, at a good time too.
for
Then
both of
three,
you.
yeah, the third thing that I would say that is also important. Try and know when is the best time to communicate with him, right?
Mm.
So is it okay if from Monday to Fridays he's busy doing 3 jobs, four
Working.
jobs, 5 jobs?
You
I
and
don't
this
know whether
3 jobs, 4 jobs. At least
yes,
he's working, basically.
yeah, you understand. So, and
Mm.
then the only time he has is weekends. Okay, fine, right? So what we're gonna do, weekends, we're gonna catch up, right? You speak with us 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. We know that because from his side there has to be sacrifice.
Yes.
Yeah, so because there is no sacrifice, then lots of things will go wrong. I just believe these are little things that she could put in place where, okay, the best time now, it's easier now. So you're not calling and then he's not picking and he's busy under a machine. And then you're thinking, oh, he's with another woman and the guy is sweating here. So that could really just, you don't want to understand me. And if he's a faithful man, then truly
Hmm.
he's a faithful man. He can't really do that. So you have to really uh, give allowance, right? She has to give allowance to really take some time to understand her husband again, understand
Mm.
his schedules, understand the best times that we will communicate, and how consistent can we keep the communication, right? And then how effective the communication has to be. So when I mean effective now, I mean, right, how are we going to be discussing about our home? what do we need to do? What do we need to put in place
They
to
need to be more
push?
strategic in their
Yes,
communication.
strategic. So you have to talk about the vision, the plans we have for our home, the plans we have for our kids, the plans. So because this is someone that is already involved in many things, his mind is on my papers, bringing you people here, getting money, and all those things. So sometimes you have to return back his mind to say, see, babe, we are moving somewhere. We need to talk about where we are going to. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? So these form some of the content of the communication, so that it will not really be, oh, because such people, when you call them, because their mind, 9 years, their mind is already changed to the system. So when
a
you
lot of
call them up,
stress,
yes,
depression even.
and you are not saying things that will make them to participate, oh, they will feel you are more wasting their time than actually adding value to them.
Or you're adding stress to
Yeah,
him.
you're adding stress.
Like
That
you
could
should
also be,
actually just
yes.
be like,
Yes, so that could
be at
also
peace,
be,
like they always say.
yes. So I think these are some of the things. And if possible, she on her side too, right? She could show a level of commitment. I wouldn't know what the woman is doing, but she could show a level of commitment to support him, right?
Support him in
So
what way? Because the
support,
businesses that she's running is supported by the man. So she has a business, but it's the man that's funding everything, basically.
okay, the man is funding everything that she's doing there
She's
at home.
doing. So they have a business, but you know,
Like it's
which is
still
making
okay.
enough money to look after herself. So the man's plan is to be able to make her comfortable, able to look after herself. Should anything happen to him, she will be okay. Like she's set up
Uh,
in businesses and everything. So she's comfortable. But she's wondering, okay, where's my husband? You know, what's
then
going on?
the major thing to really let me use this word, the bridge to build now is majorly the bridge of communication and effective communication.
Exactly.
Then on herself, she has to just be patient a little bit, you know. But it's easy to say be patient because you're not
Exactly.
in the
You're not
shoe.
you're not in the shoes, yeah.
Yeah, so why I'm saying it's easy is that because this is somebody that you're already intimate with the person, and staying for 9 years without having somebody to be intimate with, it's going to be crazy on her, right? And things like that, right? And also again, there could be pressures. Africa, there is a lot of
Oh yeah,
pressure
that's
there. So
true.
there will be, how are you sure he's not with a man, number one? How are you
A
sure,
man,
not with a
the
woman,
woman.
sorry,
But
right?
it could be with
So,
a man,
so how are you sure? And then
never
from
know.
her side, she's going to be getting pressures also from men,
That's
you know.
true. Say, you
So
haven't seen this, your husband. Let me look after
yes, and
you.
yeah, so just there are a lot of things that could just go wrong. But she keep praying for her husband. One, two, she has to build a bridge of communication. It has to really be effective, right? Um, she must have a mindset that my home must work and my home will not die, right? Because sometimes it's easy to give up than to just still stay and hold on for some time, right? Yeah, and only few people can be able to say, okay, I will still stay for some time and see how it
Okay.
goes.
In
Right.
her
So
case, obviously, she's willing to stay, you know.
yeah,
So I love the points that you've mentioned in terms of communication, making sure that she's calling at the right time, making sure that she's expressing herself in a way that will not stress the man out because
yeah.
obviously
But
he's going
but
through a lot on his end as well.
but but now we have, I don't know which country the man is, but we have so many routes of bringing your family to anywhere in the world now. We have so many routes. You could
That's
use,
true.
yeah, you could use education, you could use tourism, you could use visit, you could use, there's just so much, there's so many routes. It's not like before that there's just so many routes.
That's
Not
why she's
necessarily.
questioning his motive, because she's comfortable where she is there. So she's questioning, what is taking so long? Maybe he's comfortable living his best life, but obviously we can't make assumptions.
Okay.
She wants to
If
make her marriage work.
if she has his address and she's sure that's the address and it's confirmed that's the address, she go to the
She should
embassy,
just
look
show
for a visa, and give him a surprise.
up. I wouldn't advise that, because she might end up surprising herself, to be honest. Because the man might be married. You mentioned being married, like the fake marriage. The man might be like living a different life, trying to secure his papers. So her showing up will destroy the whole, the whole setup.
If he has to be faithful to her, he has to be sincere, he has to be honest. So I'm just saying scenarios that will really just ensure that her home is not lost, right?
Especially if she wants to
how
keep
about
it.
coming up? How about the woman coming up with a suggestion? Hey, babe, I think it is good if, okay, since the papers are taking too long, why not we come for a visit? We've missed you, right? Why not we get a visit?
But then if he doesn't have papers, can he then invite people to visit him?
No, he could use his friends. He could use anybody who sent a letter of invitation, right?
That's true.
Yes, to invite them over. They come the 1 week, 2 weeks. They're glad they see their dads. She meets with her husbands. They catch up, and all those things. They return back, right? So that I just feel in the time we are now, there is just no reason for you to be away from your home. That is most especially a home that it took you many years to build, to put your life to put your all to. You don't just leave it just like that. Except except it gets to the point where your life is at stake.
Okay, that's very
Yes.
true.
Yeah,
Or
so that
maybe
is
the
when
husband refuses to return, so at
thank
some point
you.
she has to
And
try and move on with her life.
and he's outright and he's telling you sorry, and I can't come
I
back.
can't
You go
return.
if it's on social media, probably you go there and then you see him with another lady with
But it
another
would be
2
too
kids.
wise to be posting ladies online, knowing.
No, some people are this bold. Some people are
But
this
that's
bold.
true. That's true.
So he already has another life and he's moving, and you're just discovering after many years.
That's another point. Make sure you check his social media, because then
Yes,
you might
yes.
uncover
So
certain things.
yeah, so if he's busy, is he committed? Does he have a company? What I mean by company, is he attached to a church or a mosque or a group of people, right? Does he
Okay.
have friends? Who are the people? Do you know them? Then reach out to them.